Hello, greetings, and salutations, everyone. And I do mean everyone, every single one of you out there. Anyway, welcome to wherever this is. I didn't quite catch the sign this time. I think the train's moving a little too fast for me to read signs at this point. But anyway, I'm just gonna cut right to the sandwich here. So I was driving a car the other day, and I got to thinking about it. I got to thinking, like, as far as cars go, I mean, first of all, it just really, until you see, and until you lift up the hood of a car, you really have no idea, like, how complex it is, how complex of a system, an ecosystem. You got this thing eating that thing over here while this thing's just trying to exist, and then this thing wants to eat that. And then you got some other thing over here, like producing food for this other thing. It's crazy. It's bananas. No, well, okay, maybe it's not quite bananas. I don't think bananas and cars mix very well. They go together about as well as water and electronics do. So, unless they're waterproof. Because if they're waterproof electronics, well, then they don't go good together. They just aren't bad. Kind of like, you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna go there. But I was gonna make another comparison there. Anyway, yeah, I'm talking a little too fast here. I think we gotta slow it down. Kind of, and that really can tie back into cars as well too. I mean, in my car, I was gonna say here, but I'm not in my car right now. I'm on the proverbial train, but in my car, I feel safest of all. Honestly, I mean, I can lock all my doors. It really is the only way to live, in cars, that is. But in any case, I'm not too big on the whole cars thing. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of cars. As a concept, I think they're kind of a necessity in modern society as far as transportation goes and all of that. But as far as comparing and contrasting, making a Venn diagram to if you want to bring it back to the last episode of the various types of cars, I don't know. I can't tell a lot of different cars apart. I just oh, that's the one that looks like whatever. It's kind of like me with names and faces. Like, I can remember the faces of people and correlate those to memories I have with them, but I won't necessarily remember their name. That's kind of how I am, with cars and stuff. It's like, oh, I remember how a certain car looks. I don't necessarily remember what the make and model of it is, But yeah, so basically, yeah, I mean, the cars, Wes, it's like, it's not going to be too much longer before the cars are driving us at the rate we're going. Cars already do drive some of us crazily. And I know that's a bit confusingly worded there, but you're going to have to navigate your own way through that obstacle-filled sentence. But anyway, I'm not going to tell you what kind of car I have, but yeah, I mean, I'll just say that you will laugh at me if you were to find out what type of car that I drive. So that's not why I'm not telling you. It's for privacy reasons. But yeah, it's not very. It's nothing to brag about for most people. But I don't really care, because like I said, I'm not the kind of person to obsess over things like that. Now, one thing that I may, think is cool as far as cars is, if you have decorations out, if you have stickers maybe, or some kind of painting pattern on it, or a fun little thing written on it, or so I don't know, if you kind of fancy it up a little bit. The actual make and model, I really couldn't care less, but functionality is the primary thing I'm concerned about. But as far as appearance goes, I think really with any car you can still you can still make it, you can still personalize it, you can still customize it, I think. But yeah, so I was actually just thinking a few days ago about, like, if I had a different car, like if I had sole ownership of a car, well, because I basically use the family car right now. I'm not too proud to admit it. I don't have my own car yet. I just drive the family car whenever I need to go somewhere. But but if I did have sole ownership of a car, I was just thinking about, like how would I customize it, but we've been talking about the same thing for too long here, so I think it's time to mix it up here. I think it's time to talk about, I don't know, you talk about something, just the fact that I'm saying words are being said by me, words are protruding from my oral orifice, they are being produced from my vocal cords, and are going, into my cell phone's microphone, being processed, some kind of complicated technical mechanism is going on in there, and they get converted into thing after thing after thing after thing, and then eventually they go into your ears. And so, yeah, it's really it's kind of like a telephone conversation, honestly. I mean, it's like, I'd speak into the telephone, and then you, from the other end of the planet even, can hear my words, they go from a telephone wirelessly to a tower or something, but I mean, this is too thought-provoking. This might keep you awake, I apologize. Alright, so let's dumb it down a little bit then, I suppose. Well, I mean, nothing's really, dumbing it down. Gee, well, what do you mean there, Joshua? What do you mean there, Mr. Host? I'm not gonna acknowledge that. Well, what do you mean there? What do you mean there, bucko, pal? Okay, whoa, well, slow down there. Well, put down your pitchforks and torches. I want to invite you in for a cup of tea. Alright. Yeah, the tea is not what you think it is. It's not T-E-A. It's T, like the letter T, like an abbreviation for something else. I'm trying to think if there's any other beverages that start with T. No, don't you think about it. You're supposed to go to sleep. I do the thinking on this show, on this series, on this whatever podcast, whatever you want to call it. All right, whatever you want to call it. And no, I'm not, scowling at the thought of a podcast. It's like I'm not disgusted by podcasts in general. I don't know. I just view a podcast as something with multiple members, and it's like, yeah, sure, maybe there is 17 of us here, throughout this one entity that's all like being channeled out through the same funnel, through the same orifice. But at the end of the day, you only have one name on the credits, So it's kind of more a solo project in that sense. But, I mean, when you think about it, it's like, well, I don't know what it's like. I mean, comparing, something of that magnitude to something else of that magnitude, or perhaps something from a different magnitude for that matter, it's preposterous, and I don't even use that word very often, so that's how you know. That's how you know that something's really up, and so it's it basically, we should just make a compilation of all the times that I say, and what was the other thing? I don't know, there was one other one. I mean, even just the ums and that's a lot. Oh, and like, and like, yeah, just all that kind of stuff, all the filler nonsense. I mean, it's basically, I mean, technically, obviously, moral jellyfish, something. I mean, yeah, these are all the top tier, most used words or phrases or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, ring ring. It seems we're getting a figurative phone call here. Hello, figurative phone. Hey, this is figurative Steve. No, it's gotta be. Let's see. This is figurative Frank here. Hey, figurative Frank. How's it going? Yeah, I'm figurative Frank. Oh, you are. I thought you said no. I forget what you thought I said. I am figurative Frank. Okay, and this is my first time calling. Is it? I said it's my first time calling. I'm figurative Frank, and I'm a first time caller. Hey, I'm liking your scheme here. Yeah, well, I'm the first figurative Frank in all of. All right, so why are you calling? I'm figurative Frank. First calling from the phone. Firstly, forget the filth on. I mean, all right. You know what? I'm done with the bit. Seriously though, I am figurative Frank, and I'm just calling because I heard this episode needed I sensed rather that this episode needed some type of character interaction. Well, figurative Frank. I was just thinking that myself, actually. So, yeah, you're quite the little mind reader there, aren't you? Yes, I know. You may be hearing from me from time to time. I may drop by on some future episodes. Not every episode. I don't want to wear it out. I don't want to do it to death. But if there's nothing else going on, I might give you a call. Mid episode, you can put me on the air here. The air? Well, any air really will do. It doesn't really matter, if it's Arctic air, if it's good air, if it's free air, if it's the other kind of air. I don't, whatever it's called. So, figurative Frank, why is it that you sound similar to me? Well, that's pretty simple, Mr. Host here. It's because we're voiced by the same person. I beg your pardon? What? Yeah. Wow, we're both characters. Well, yeah, that's what, I knew that. Yeah, well, don't you know what a character is? Well, yeah, of course I know what a character is. What kind of question is that? It's like asking if I know what a vinegar is. Who doesn't? Okay, so, what are you confused by then? Huh? What are you talking about? I'm confused. What do you mean I'm confused? I'm not confused. You just said you were confused. No, I said I'm not confused. Yeah, before that though. Before what? Before you said you weren't confused, you said you were confused. Well, maybe at one point in time I was confused, but then something you said made me not confused. Okay, so are you confused right now? Well, a little bit. About what? About what's going on here? Because I'm. So you're confused as to whether or not you're confused. Exactly. I'm trying to figure out if I'm confused. Well, if you're confused about whether you're confused or not, then you're probably confused. I'm confused. I don't know. Exactly. So, we're gonna do something about that? Well, we don't have to. Being confused isn't necessarily, a death sentence or a reason to sound the alarm, get everybody in the village in on it. Whoa, village? What are we talking about? All right, my time's up now. I think I was just dropping by here for a figurative phone call. Wait, come on, figurative Frank. We know. I know you do. It's okay. You can say the plural. What? No, the honest mistake. Oh, no, it's all right. I know it wasn't a mistake. Plural is correct. Huh? Never mind. Just go on with what you were saying. All right. So Frank, yes, I know you don't have anywhere to be. I know that you only exist for the duration of time. Of this phone call, and then you go back to not existing. You're not making any sense, man. First you're saying not only I think you're confused. Oh, I think you're confused. What are you talking about? You're 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 confused as to who you are. No, I know who I am. Who are you then? I'm Frank. Go on. I'm figurative Frank. Go on. I'm the first figurative Frank. Go on. I'm for real the first figurative Frank of the phone. Alright. Well, just don't forget here. Don't forget who's wielding the cards. What cards? What are you talking about? Yeah, alright. So, figurative Frank, you said you had to go? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I gotta go. So, if you don't mind me asking, what is it that you're going to be doing? Well, you see, that's the ratio of this episode. This episode's an hour long, and the phone call can only be a certain amount of time in duration. Okay, well, we can still make it longer. We're just going to have to cut it from the episode. I thought you said you didn't cut things. Well, I don't usually, but, we can make an exception here. Alright, so what do you want to talk about? Alright, so first things first. Alright, well, thanks, figurative, Frank. Alright, so you promise you're gonna cut all that? Yeah, that won't be in the episode. So, it's just gonna go from, you know what, I won't even leave the segue. No, you can leave the segue in. Like, the part where we talk about the segue. No, the actual segue. You mean like the one that you... Alright, oh, man, no, you know what? Okay, that's it. I'm leaving now. I'm going. No, wait, look, we talked for hours on here. Or we talked for 3 hours. Yeah, but the listeners will think it's only a few minutes. You're not gonna have to cut that too. No, I'm not cutting that. It's only... Alright, goodbye. Wait, Alright, well... let's hear for our special guest caller, Figurative Frank. Okay, well, actually, let's not hear it. Let's not hear anything from you, because you're going to be sleeping. You should be sleeping right now. Hopefully you have your phone, face down, your device, sorry, it's not fair of me to assume what you're watching this on. It could be a laptop, a PC, a goldfish, whatever. I don't know what you're using. It's not. I apologize. It's not my place to assume things of that nature. But in any case, so yeah. What's next? What's our next conversation topic? Okay. Well, I guess I got something to bring to the table here. What sort of table? I don't know. I mean, is it important to is it crucial to the narrative of the story here that we know what kind of table I'm bringing something to? We should have more emphasis on, what it is that's being brought to the table, and perhaps who's bringing it to the table than the table itself that's having something being brought to it by someone. Don't you agree? I mean, well, I'm sorry, the rhetorical question, you're not meant to answer any of this. There's no... don't be deceived in any way. There's absolutely no audience interaction in this. The table... Okay, fine. So you want to know about the table. Or someone wants to know about the table, okay? So for that someone, we're going to satiate their curiosity. So the table, it's a wooden table, okay? So it's wooden. It is a beige color. That's right, beige. I said it. It's oval shaped, and it's got two stands on it with those little arms coming out of them, all four sides or something. It's hard to describe, but I have the image in my mind. And that's what happens. A lot of times we get these images in our minds from time to time, and it becomes quite the struggle, not to lose all grip on reality. Whoa, that just got deep there. We're talking about... Here we go with the we. Again, we are not talking about anything. I'm talking about whatever the crap I'm talking about. I don't even know half the time. I already said that. I mean, maybe not even half. Maybe 60% or 40%. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. And the fact that I don't even know how often I don't know what I'm talking about is probably an indicator that most of the time I don't know what I'm talking about. So again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. Take it with 2 grains or 3 grains, or just take it with a whole salt shaker worth of salt, because don't come at me in the comments section. I already made the disclaimer in the pilot episode or whatever. I already made the disclaimer, like, hey, listen, it's gonna be real. Well, I don't know. Just look at the first episode and there you go. The disclaimer's in there. You get the official. I listened to the demo episode sticker or badge, or whatever they're giving away. Did I say badger? No, badger. What's It's like yeah, you know what I mean. No, not a badger. But speaking of cars, because that's what we've been talking about this whole time. Let's see, what's something car related? So how, like, when you're driving a car, like I do, of course, like all the cool people do, assuming of course you're of legal age to do so. Well, wait a minute. That means we are. I am excluding those fine folks tuning in here who are not of legal age to drive a car. What about them? That's unfair to them, because they get to miss out on all this quote unquote relatable conversation. That's true. I mean, how much of the audience do you think that is, though? I'd say a significant percentage. You think? Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a fair share of youngins listening to this. Alright, well, there might be. Okay, well, fine. I guess we'll talk about something that's more, I don't know, family friendly? Come on, not necessarily. Just more relatable across the board, across the spectrum. Okay, alright, fine. So basically anything that's like not age restrictive, like, when, like, I don't know, you're like smoking cigarettes and okay, just nothing. How, like, you're in the adult video store and, like, just none of that, basically. Okay. Oh, so nothing inappropriate. No, that's not what I mean. Like, you can talk about, Vinegreal 8256's actions. That's as inappropriate as it gets, but just not, like, anything that you got to be a certain age to relate to. Just something that's, like, I don't know. Just think of things that, like, everybody does. I mean, that's kind of already the bit for the opening to each episode. Oh, is it really? Because you open this episode with, so I was driving a car the other day. Is that really relatable to the youngins? Oh, I guess not. Okay. Fine. So, geez, how, like, when you're watching cartoons and, okay, now you're just insulting. No. People of all age groups watch cartoons. There's cartoons for kids. There's cartoons for adults. There's no, the line's being blurred here. There's no specification. Alright, fine. Okay, so how, like, when you're watching a cartoon and, like, while your car's being tuned, well, to tie things back in. Oh, I got one. You know how, like, when you're sitting in the back of a car, right? You're in the back of the car with your seatbelt buckled, and like, you're just sitting there, like, being a kid, or when you're in an unspecified area of a unspecified vehicle, and you are in an unspecified position, participating in an unspecified activity, and, like, something unspecified happens, like, oh man, that's wow, that's really something, isn't it? Yeah, I'll say. Anyway, it probably doesn't matter. I mean, I would imagine most of our listeners are probably asleep by now, because, it's been a while since we started this. But I know some folks are still awake, some hardcore insomniacs, so the show must go on, and I can't entirely, I can't entirely, just abandon all, I was gonna say hope, but it's not necessarily hope, it's more like, what are they called? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Alright, move on. I feel like I'm like a radio host on Graveyard Shift, where I just like am all alone in the studio, and I have like an hour time slot or something that I need to fill. That's actually pretty much exactly what this is. I mean, this is all in one take. It's all, it's all in here. Man, that 3-hour phone call with Figurative Frank sure was something, wasn't? Oh, I mean, that 3-minute phone call with Figurative Frank. Never mind. All right, I'm gonna have to cut that too. No, I'm not. I'm not cutting anything without my scissors. All right, because scissors are. Let's talk about scissors. Or should we save that for another episode? No, you know what? I want to talk about scissors blasted. Okay, so scissors. I primarily use scissors to cut paper. Don't ask what the paper is for. It's nothing you youngins need to concern yourself with. Writing. Sure. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. They're for writing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And since this is audio only, my air quotes and wings aren't transmitting. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. They're implied. Yeah. So the point is the paper. The rolling the paper is it's like the scissors and the scissors interact with the paper in such a manner so as to produce a separation of the paper into two or more parts, and the scissors act as, well, I mean, this is a tough one. We're not even halfway through. Okay, well, alright, so I guess we got plenty of time then, huh? We could talk about a whole bunch of this stuff. Okay, so you know how, like, when you're, when you're on the toilet and then, well, okay, I mean, alright, let's not, sorry about that, everyone, that was a really poor taste on my part. So you know how, like, when you're trying to fall asleep, kind of like, similarly to how you are now, I would imagine, and, like, you're having trouble falling asleep, you're experiencing technical difficulties in the sleep department, and it's like, I just want to sleep, like, this is crazy, I mean, yeah, I just said all of them. Yeah, this is me bombing at open mic night. So, well, I've never actually tried that, but I would imagine it'd be something like that. Like those kind of quote-unquote jokes. Yeah, now you use the quote-unquote, but not with that. Alright, you know what? It's save it for after the show. Alright, let's do the comedy thing. Hey, everybody. Now, again, and here, pausing the game for a minute, the simulation. I keep in mind, I'm watering this down. Obviously, if I did do that, it would be awesome, because you know me. I mean, I'm just real great at that kind of stuff. But I just don't want you to, I mean, I just don't want you to be, laughing so hard that, I don't want you to be laughing so hard that you don't, you yeah, you can't fall asleep, so. Hey there, everybody, audience, how's everyone doing? Yeah? Great to be, it's great to be here in insert city name. Yeah, oh, that got a lot of applause. Alright, wow. So, one thing about the city that I heard is that, insert fact here, does that mean that insert punchline here, or, yeah. Okay, but, cause I mean, if that was the case, alright, my time's up, everybody. Thanks for coming out here. Yeah, and thank you for listening to this episode of Hello, Greetings, and Salutations. I've been your host, and, I mean, yeah, this is probably just going to end abruptly.